Councilmember Andriotta,
I'm present.
Councilmember Reedy,
Here.
Councilmember Brown,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Eklund,
Here.
Mayor Pearl.
Here.
Very good. We have two items on the closed session tonight. And for that, we will be adjourning to another room. But before we do that, is there anyone in the audience or on Zoom who would like to make a comment about either 1A or 1B? And I'll read them off. 1A is conference with legal counsel, existing legislation. The Gathering Inn versus the City of Lincoln. Item B, 1B, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D2, one potential case. Have anyone in the audience? All right. Anyone on Zoom?
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comments through Zoom.
Okay. That being the case, we will close this session and then move to adjourn to our closed session. it's a. If we're good, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 14th meeting of the Lincoln City Council and Redevelopment Agency. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Madam,
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the City of Lincoln's regular meeting of the City Council. Tonight's meeting will be televised and available on Cable Channel 18, YouTube, and Zoom. Those wishing to address City Council on either a non-agenda or agenda item will be called upon at the appropriate time. Those who submitted a speaker card will be called first, followed by those in the audience, and finally those attending through Zoom. For those participating through Zoom that wish to provide public comment, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 if you are calling in. Once public comment is opened, please wait to be unmuted. Once unmuted, your name will be called and you may proceed in making your public comment. This evening's invocation will be given by Pastors Jose and Carmen Bertanetta from the Light of Restoration. Once the invocation has concluded, Mayor Pearl will call the meeting to order.
And community members, thank you so much for this opportunity. We are so happy to be here.
Te damos gracias, Señor,
We give you thanks, Lord,
por este hermoso momento.
for this beautiful moment.
Tuya es la gloria,
Yours is the glory.
tuya es la honra,
Yours is the honor,
por siempre y por siempre.
forever and ever and ever.
Señor Jesús,
Lord Jesus,
bendice y sigue cuidando de esta nación.
bless and continue to protect this nation.
Sigue cuidando del estado de California, Señor.
Continue to protect the state of California.
Sigue bendiciendo doblemente
Continue to bless
esta ciudad de Lincoln.
the city of Lincoln.
Cuida,
Protect.
dale sabiduría
Continue to give us wisdom,
a los gobernantes de esta ciudad.
and especially to the government leaders of this city.
Que la gracia del Padre,
May the grace of the Father,
del Hijo
the Son,
y del Espíritu
and
Santo
of the Holy Spirit
estén con cada uno de
be
ellos.
with every single one of you.
Bendice
Bless
a los ciudadanos
the citizens
de esta ciudad.
of this city.
Síguelos cuidando
Continue to protect them
como hasta ahora lo has hecho.
as you have done so.
Bendice esta reunión
Bless this meeting
de este día
of this day
en el nombre del Padre,
in the name of the Father,
del Hijo
the Son,
y del Espíritu
and
Santo.
Holy Spirit.
Amén.
Amen.
Amén.
Amen. God bless
thank you,
you all.
Pastor. Okay, with that, we'll reconvene over here. Thank you very much. Meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Councilmember Andriotta,
I'm present, thank you.
Councilmember Reedy.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Eklund.
Here.
Mayor Pearl.
Here. Very much. City Attorney, do we have any report from closed session?
Action was given to staff, but there's nothing to report out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay. Pledge of Allegiance. Do I see Nicole Siddle out there?
Her husband,
Isn't it-
sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we did it before. Darla, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to
United States of America. Republic for which it stands. And with that, the lights came on. What a
what a concept.
What a country. All right, very good. Okay. On the conflict of interest, do council members have any conflicts of interest? We've talked about this. I don't think any other information items. Okay. Okay, moving right along over here. Let me just see, agenda modifications. I know we have one over here. Do any council, my colleagues have any agenda modifications? Okay, and there is a, Madam Clerk, there is a correction to one of our issues.
The red line ordinance that is noted in 14A, we have provided copies to council and also for members of the public.
Okay, thank you very much. Everything is out there. We're good to go on that. Thank you very much. Anything else that we know of over here? That's fine. Presentations. Originally, there was going to be no presentations, but actually, we're going to have a presentation tonight because many of us would hear just on a very fabulous day on Thursday when the city of Lincoln was designated as a train town, official train town by the Union Pacific Railroad. I think there's only 150 of all they operate in 23 states, and there is 153 officially designated train towns. We are one of them. And the other interesting fact about the Pacific is that they operate in 7,000 communities. That's where all their folks come from. So to be one of 153 is a singular distinction. And it's, trains go back so long in our history. All of us who are here, we wake up to the train calls, we go to sleep to the train calls, and sometimes we're woken up in the middle of the night by the train calls. But it's part of the fabric of Lincoln, without a doubt. And to have them come here and to give us that official designation, it just shows the partnership between the city and the railroad. And the way I think of it, I think I'm joined by everyone here, is that the railroad is just part of the fabric of Lincoln. It's been here for about a century and a half, so just super. So we were very fortunate. We had a fabulous day. We were wondering whether the weather was going to cooperate. And is it because it rained up until, I think, just about the day before? And then all of a sudden the skies cleared and it was a picture perfect day out there. We're estimating that somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 people were from just north of the city to south of, down by the casino. They were lined on both sides of the street. There was a huge mass at where they stopped. We did the official proclamation at 7th Street. And then they also inched up forward, and then they did some more stops on 5th Street, and then they motored down. But it was just a fabulous day, and everyone really enjoyed themselves. So they gave us these plaques over here. We're going to take a group picture over here.
Mayor,
Yes.
let me just add to, not to interrupt you, for everyone to know that while we were riding from Lincoln to Roseville, we were with Union Pacific employees up in the Dome, and they were amazed. They said, wow, this is the largest reception we've seen in any town we've stopped at. And they said, Lincoln wins, Lincoln wins. And we said, that's how we roll. So good job, Lincoln. Yes.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, we also had a flyover by one of our AT-6 pilots, and he said, they said that we've never seen that before. So, hey, Lincoln rules. We need how to roll out the welcome mat, without a doubt. And for me, I had I just was grinning the whole way down from Marysville because I got to ride up in the cab. And so that was just, Sean is just shaking his head over there. Yeah, he wished that he was with me, that's all, because we're just a bunch of boys, that's all. But it was a lot of fun. The railroad is, as I said, is just a part and fabric of our city. Okay, so let's get out here and bring up the jackets off, put the hats on, photo up here, and then we also have a short slide video.
The mayor might want. Yeah, well.
Yeah, here's the big boy, and down over here so people can hear it. The big boy was commissioned in 1941. It's 1.2 million pounds of rolling stock. They produced, I think, 25 originally of them. They were built during the Second World War to haul traffic, fuel and everything else over the Sierra and then over the Utah range over here. And they were decommissioned, I think, in the 1960s. There's a number of them that are around the country, but there's only one that rolls, and this is big boy number 4014. So if we can have the next slide, please. Hole number 2. Nope. Didn't work, we're gonna have to pass on it.
Oh, they'll get it. Yeah.
The expert, our conductor for the evening.
Something we're doing in here. Give us a sec.
Oh, and a fun fact, speaking about conductors, I always thought the engineer was the person who was in command on the train. That's not true. It is the conductor. The conductor is captain of the ship. Rolling ship in any case. Okay, so here we are receiving the proclamation and the emblem that we see here. Don't go too far, Dave. We're challenged here. Blair, do we have it? We good? Dave? Okay, no. Okay, so there we are. Okay, so, well, okay, that's fine over here.
There you go.
That was shot, I think, in the 1940s or something, maybe the 20s on the left, and the 48, okay. Late 40s, and then that was shot by one of our photographers, Rick Manis, as the train was coming into town. So, next one. Okay, and there's the crowds. As I said, we had somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 folks out there. It was just absolutely fabulous. Okay, next one. All right, and did some shots over here from inside the cab. It was a lot of fun. And then just some more pictures. So we're good. Is that it, Blair? I think it may be the last one. Nope, there we are. Okay, we're accepting it. Good to go. All right, perfect. Thank you. That was a little agony, but I think we finally got it. But we made through it. Okay. So, public comment on non-agenda items within the subject matter of and the jurisdiction of the council. All speakers' time will be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by the mayor. All comments or questions should be addressed to this mayor. And in most cases, the city council is prohibited from discussing or taking action on any item not appearing on the posted agenda, but may engage in a brief discussion, provide direction to city staff, or schedule items for future meetings. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker cards?
We do. First speaker is Stan Nader.
Mr. Mayor and Council, my name is Stan Nader and I live in the 12 Bridges area. On March 26th in Anaheim Hills, a minor on a Suron Light B, quote, e-bike, which really is an e-motorcycle, which can reach speeds up of 47 miles an hour, ran a red light and T-boned a RAV4. As the youngster was being taken away in an ambulance, and his mother arrived on the scene, the police asked her what she wanted done with the bike. And she told him to throw it away. That is what many parents should be doing in our community, as so many of their bike riders are violating basic traffic laws. 2 weeks ago, my wife and I or westbound on 12 Ridges Drive, approaching Joyner Parkway, preparing to make a right turn. After stopping at the limit line because our light was red, we began to make our right turn. Without any warning, an e-bike rider came zipping down the sidewalk on the wrong side of the road. The e-bike rider failed to stop before crossing the crosswalk as required by law. My wife had to abruptly come to a stop to avoid hitting the rider. He was not wearing a helmet, and he never looked our way as to act as if we were not even there. 1 week ago, my wife and I were northbound on Lincoln Boulevard approaching Ferrari Ranch Road, preparing to make a right turn onto Ferrari. Our light was red, and before we reached the limit line, 2 e-bike riders going southbound crossed the Ferrari Ranch crosswalk against a red light. These type of incidents are happening all over our city. All you have to do is read the many posts on Facebook. When you adopted the ordinance for e-bike enforcement, I had encouraged you to make the penalties for e-bike rider violations more severe. I am aware that the police department is enforcing e-bike rider violations on trails and pathways, but this enforcement needs to be involve the city streets as well. The city of Galt began in March of 2026 cracking down on e-bike rider violating basic traffic laws and fining the riders' parents $500. This is what it's going to take to get the attention of the e-bike riders and their parents so that they will show respect for the rules of the road and ride their bikes safely. I would encourage you to revisit your ordinance on e-bike riders and increase the penalties for violating traffic laws. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. That was our only speaker card. We'll now ask, is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment? Okay, I see 2 hands raised.
Yes.
I went to Home Depot today, and then I went to the post office. I was traveling down Ferrari Ranch Road. I saw a fella on a 4-wheeled go-kart on the sidewalk, no helmet, full speed. And another fella in the bike lane with a helmet, at least he had a helmet on, full speed. And they were going over the speed limit. So this is a problem that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And Nicole, thank you for showing up. You were here, but a couple of minutes late. I was going to call on you for your Pledge of Allegiance. We'll do it next time. Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Byron Chapman, 12 Bridges area, the city council members, as well as city staff and those here as well as at home. Dealing with the accessibility issues as I've done over the years, just wanted to get a follow-up or at least where we are when it comes to any kind of grievance, complaint, whatever that might be, that's in position now. The previous city attorney, the procedure was to turn in the form, it would go to the city attorney. The city attorney would then pass that document around to the various departments to see what they could input. Once that was done, then the city attorney or someone would get back to the person who turned that in. So at this point in time, I don't know if that's the procedure we're going to follow still, or is there something different with that? Under the ADA, when it comes to a city with 50 employees or more, which we qualify for, must have an ADA coordinator, and they also have to follow the time restraints in which to receive any kind of complaint or comment and back. Maximum time on that is like 15 days. So we were falling a little bit behind on two that are still impending. And one is 6 months and one is 4 months. Certainly, if I know a little bit about that procedure, I'd be more than happy to meet with anyone at the city to discuss that and answer any questions or any generation from that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Mr.
Yeah,
Manager?
I think that's a fair question. You know, it's a changeover in some administration. It has, as people can probably tell at these meetings, it's given us an opportunity to change things up about what the standard practice has been. So I will personally reach out to Mr. Chapman and set up a time so we can kind of maybe talk with him a little bit about how he designed something that works from his perspective as well as ours. And it's clear.
Okay.
Just to add on to that, I did have an opportunity to talk to Mr. Chapman, I think at the last meeting for a short period of time. I'll try to either join in on that meeting or have a separate one to kind of outline what the legal process is that we will have going forward. They probably will be a little bit different, but we'll either do that as part of the same meeting or we'll set up a separate one to make sure that at least we're clear on what my expectations are as how the process would work and to get his feedback on if he believes that's compliant or not.
Fine. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Sean. Okay.
I just wanted to do a quick follow-up on that. So he'll be reached out to before the next council meeting. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
I see no one else in the audience. One more. Okay, come on up, please.
Good evening, members of City Council. My name is Angela Valderas, and I own a property at 0 Todd Lane. I have been before you guys back in 2024 to try to get city services on this piece of land because it's not, we're not able to do a septic system on it. During that time, there was no clear direction of what to do with the city. After that, we have tried to put the property for sale, and we've been in contract twice, and both times we fell out of contract because both buyers didn't have any clear answers. After that, we have exhausted all our options with the county. We've spent thousands of dollars trying to do soil testing and and they basically have said that it's not buildable. So I'm here today to ask you if you guys can please help us move forward with this property. We know there's a connection with the city within 100 feet because my husband worked in the new development that's right next to it. And all we need is to be able to connect to city so we can do something with the property. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
just
Yes,
really quickly,
yes.
I was going to bring this up and council initiated business, so I will do that then,
Okay.
but
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, no,
I-
No,
no,
no.
Angela, that's fine. And thank you for your
Okay.
comment. Yeah, I got you, girl. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in just a little bit, but thank you
Okay,
for that.
I'm
Appreciate-
sorry.
No, no, no,
I'm-
you're perfectly fine. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
The
you.
But
clarification, it
but you
was
can't stick
septic.
around for a few minutes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Septic,
Thank you.
so she said.
Mhm.
Madam Clerk, anyone else before we go to Zoom?
Okay, last call for audience? Nope. All right, we'll go ahead and move over to Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to provide public comment? Please raise your hand. I see no hands raised.
All right, we're good. We'll close that public comment then. Consent calendar, move to the consent. We have two items, 13A, 13B. Does anyone on the council, my colleagues, or the, what? And 13C?
Mhm.
Well, see, I'm sorry, yes. Anyone wish to pull an item or
Don't
staff?
wish to pull, just for 13B, to say thank you to the Public Safety Foundation for that.
Absolutely.
Yep, so that's really good stuff.
Right, very, very good. Do we have any speaker card, Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker cards on the, on the consent calendar items?
No speaker cards.
Okay,
Then we'll ask anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment. No one in the audience. Switching over to Zoom, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to provide public comment? Please raise your hand. No hands raised.
okay, thank you very much. Bring it back to comments from my colleagues. Anything? Okay, Holly, thank you very much for that,
Yeah,
that note.
You
without-
bet. Yeah,
without-
I
without a
move
doubt.
approval of the consent.
Okay, moved, so
Second.
moved, second, John, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, okay, we're good, thank you very much.
Motion passes
Motion passes.
5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Public hearings. Okay. Turn over to our manager.
Thank you. So as Nita comes up, I will just take all of her thunder and explain this entire ordinance. Starting with section 3.26.
I'll just sit back.
I'm just
down.
kidding. So Nita does something that is in my side of the career is a real luxury, which is that she is constantly making sure that our purchasing policies are fluid and responsive to what the organization needs and also are following government code and that changing state law. And so what you're going to hear in a moment is a whole suite of different things that we would propose you consider to make our procurement and purchasing process a little more friendly and a lot more compliant. Rita?
Thank you, members of council. So as Sean indicated, before you this evening is a request to hold a public hearing and waive the first reading introduced by title only. However, we're going to modify that. An ordinance amending certain sections of the Lincoln Municipal Code, Chapter 3.24 and 3.26. So these are our two purchasing chapters within the municipal code. When I started back in 2022, we did a major overhaul of the purchasing code at that time. However, it is prudent to review it from time to time to ensure that the levels are adequate for the city's needs, that they're also complying with government regulations, and that we are ensuring that our processes are efficient, effective, and streamlined. So the changes that you have in the red line that was handed out at your dais and available in the room are attempting to make some minor modifications to do that, providing additional information, clarification, and streamlining of processes. Unfortunately, there was like a technical glitch and the red lines did not appear in the documents that were loaded in the agenda. The second document that was indicated as a red line was actually an accepted document, the same as the clean version, which is why we're providing a red line for your information as well at the moment. And so I do want to briefly go over, we received some comments from council, and I wanted to read those into the record for your consideration. Under the definition for qualified vendors, we would like to replace the last sentence to read, additionally qualified vendors may be identified as vendors previously qualified through an RFP/RFQ process, or who have conducted work previously for the city are in good standing. An additional edit is under section 3.24.040. We're making a modification and adding a sentence that would read, a summary of purchases and warrants shall be posted on the city's website at least quarterly. We are posting that information quarterly. We just want to add the at least and kind of change the wording around of that sentence that would give the city the opportunity to post more than quarterly, if that should be the direction or desire of council, without having to come back to change the ordinance for just that small change. And then also 3.24.0, I'm sorry, 3.24.801 will add us a sentence to letter E that says, notwithstanding this provision, services identified in Government Code Section 4525 are exempt from the criteria in that letter E. And then finally, under 3.24.910, we would adjust the limit down from 100,000, which is what's in the red line document, to 75,000. So we ask the council open this public hearing, take any additional comments from the community, consider these additional edits that are provided by council members. And if those are acceptable, I'll be happy to read these additional edits into the record as part of the motion, if council should so direct that.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Very good. Comments from my colleagues? Good, any, do we have any speaker cards?
We have no speaker cards. And then moving on to the audience, is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll move over to Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to provide public comment? I see no hands raised.
I think I'll just make a comment that this is kind of the nuts and bolts of governance, and I appreciate the fact that staff has gone through and updated. It's a living document, and it's going to keep on changing as conditions change, which is good. Everything that we do within this document is there for the public protection, and we want it to be absolutely as transparent as possible. And I think this is a great effort. So we continue to improve on that. Do we have any other comments?
Oh, I appreciate the information. This is really good.
Very good. In that case, I will ask for a motion.
I'll move adoption of the item with the read in record edits.
I'll second.
Very good. Let's call a vote over here. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seems like we have 5-0, so we're good?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Nita. Okay, moving on to 15, general business, item 15A, fiscal impact analysis of Community Facility District, CFD 2018-2. Again, Ms. Racker.
I'm just going to stay up here. Good evening. And helping me present this item and provide additional clarification and discussion is our consultant with EPS, Jamie Gomes, who is online. But I told him I would kick this off, requesting council adopt a resolution accepting a fiscal impact analysis of Community Facilities District 2018-2 and authorizing a maximum tax within the CFD project area. So this, as it's stated in the title, the CFD Community Facilities Districts was created in 2018 with a tax methodology allowing for and requiring a fiscal impact analysis anytime a development wanted to annex into the CFD, which is required as part of becoming a development within the city. And we wanted to evaluate that tax rate because there are varying tax rate for different areas based on the cost of public safety and the assumed revenues. We wanted to evaluate that and determine if we could come up with a more consistent and streamlined process. Also, removing the need for a fiscal impact analysis, which is a cost saving to developers, which is a cost saving that is then passed down to homeowners. So that is kind of the goal here. It's pretty unique. You don't typically see, in fact, I'm not aware of any other agency within the state that would take an existing CFD and evaluate if the maximum tax rate is still a valid rate. One of the reasons we are bringing forward this amendment is as well the change in the sales tax. So when the CFD was originally formed, there wasn't an impact or a consideration of the amount of sales tax generated by households that would be in the CFD, and that was done for a number of reasons, but very specifically as a result of the increased leakage of sales tax dollars leaving the city, and that was as a result of the significantly diminished commercial base that existed in the city compared to now. So as a result of the increased commercial and also the commercial that we know is going to be coming online with the developments that are currently in progress this year, as well as developments coming forward in the Village 5, Village 7 area, we felt that it was really important to reevaluate this and reevaluate that sales tax amount and include the effect of that revenue in determining this tax. And with that, I will open it up for questions and also turn it over to Jamie to see if he has additional information he'd like to add.
Thank you, Nita. I'm here to answer questions. I think you covered it very adequately. The main point I think that I would add is that, as noted in the staff report, this is really an attempt by the city to help streamline the entitlement process for new development projects. It'll improve predictability for your developer partners and your home building partners. It certainly will make the tax levy process and the administration of these CFPs much easier for your city team and city staff. And, for future homeowners, it'll establish a much more accurate and equitable tax rates so that everyone in the city will be paying a uniform tax rate to support their public services. So with that, I would entertain any questions.
And it is lowering the tax rate for almost everyone who's currently in the CFD.
So it's almost unheard of, nomenclature, lowering the tax rate. So this is good. This is what we do as a community up here. We call them as we see them, and if the rate should go down, we bring them down. I mean, that's what it should be. Also, because Lincoln is an evolving city, most of our residents up to now, and even in the very near future, you go to Highway 65 and you go left, unfortunately. But as our new developments come on, that's going to become less and less. So the leakage that we have now, which may be, 45%, it's going to shrink dramatically because we're just getting ready to stand up over the next 5 to 8 years, some major developments here in Lincoln. And that's going to give our people the opportunity to shop Lincoln, and it'll also give residents from outside the Lincoln, even better, the opportunity to come here and to pay us their sales tax, which will be really good. So, yeah, this is a great news. And so thanks to staff for doing all this analysis and bringing it forward. I think this is really good for our community. Okay. Any other comments from my colleagues?
I just wanted to echo that I mean, like you said, unheard of, but to really highlight that as staff and what's most important, we want to make sure that it's livable and it's not, hey, we need this, and then it's a forever thing. It's a as needed basis, and because anyways. I feel like I'm rambling over myself, but maybe it's because, you don't ever see this happen, where the rates go lower.
We can't make those statements too often enough, so.
Thanks.
Okay, very good. Anyone else from my colleagues?
Yeah, I also wanted to say that I am impressed and I appreciate the fact that we did extra work to lower taxes and how rare this is. And I hope that everybody hears this, and this is just something I think that we'll be continuing to look into, as that's one of our vested priorities, to lower rates and taxes whenever possible. And it's great that we are in the position to find a way to do that. Well, you did it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yep. Okay, good. Madam Clerk, do we have any speaker cards on this?
We have no speaker cards, and we'll go ahead and ask, is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment?
Mr.
Mr.
Chapman?
Chapman?
Once again, Byron Chapman, 12 Ridges area. Mr. Mayor and council members, as I went through the packet, I guess I'm kind of where you guys are. As I went through that, I had to read it twice. Then the tax went down. I'm like, no, that's got to be wrong. And had to go back and look through it. Going through the majority of the information, is it possible to give those who aren't here and maybe those in the room a little bit of an idea as to how low or how high those various taxes are? I'm pretty sure you probably did those numbers, but if you have it, it would probably be helpful for people to hear. And realizing it's probably not down to the penny or the dollar, but at least some sort of idea of what those percentages might be. Thank you.
That information is available in the memo that's attached to the agenda item, available for all the public to see.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, moving to Electron Land.
We'll go ahead and switch over to Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to provide public comment? Please raise your hand. No hands raised.
Okay, thank you very much. In the case, we'll bring it back to the council for a vote to it. Do I have a motion? Yes, John.
Real quick, I just wanted to thank staff. They indulged me in a number of questions to understand the math behind all of this and the cushion that was built in to this to accommodate changes in sales tax over time so that it's still robust and meets the needs of the city over the long term, but provides the relief to them in the short term. So I appreciate it. So with that, I'll move to adopt the item.
Very good, thank you.
I'll
We have-
second.
Okay. Motion and second, very good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay, we have 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to 15 Bravo, issuance of the City of Lincoln Community Facilities District Number 2005-1, Sorrento Village.
And I have more help this
All right.
evening. So this is an item of requesting a resolution authorizing the issuance of Lincoln Community Facilities District 2005-1 special tax bond refunding series 2026. And I'm not going to steal the thunder of our bond counsel, Brian Forbath, but I will introduce him as well as our PFM, Jaime, to provide the presentation and answer questions.
Thank you, Nita. Good evening, Mayor Pearl, council members, Brian Forbath from Stradling. Keep the good news parade maybe rolling here with the potential opportunity to save some additional money for some taxpayers in the city. These are the 497 homeowners that live within the Sorrento development. There was a series of bonds that were issued back in 2013, 2014, and 2016 to finance infrastructure and to help that project develop. Now there's an opportunity to potentially refund those bonds to create savings for the property owners in the district. Interest rates have been a little volatile lately, and I'll maybe ask Jaime Trejo from PFM to talk about it in a minute, but they've improved somewhat in the last couple days, and we're trying to hopefully time the market to get in to save the most money as possible for the homeowners. The action before you this evening is to approve the issuance of bonds in an amount not to exceed $16 million. We're actually think it's going to be closer to about $12.5 million that we're going to issue. And the reason for that is we got a rating on the bond deal that Jaime led the effort there, and the bonds are going to be rated A-rated by S&P. And with that rating, that allows the city to go out and get what we call municipal bond insurance, which provides like a wrap to investors that gives it a AA+ rating. So again, lowers the interest rates on the bonds. And it also provides the flexibility to replace what's normally a debt fund, a cash-funded debt service reserve fund with what we call a surety bond or like another insurance policy. So we can borrow less money. All this is designed to generate additional savings for the property owners. At the time the staff report was drafted, the savings were just below the 3% threshold, which is the city's threshold to move forward on the transaction. I think now, and I'll turn to Jaime here before I sit down, it's over 3%. And the resolution before you this evening requires that we achieve at least a minimum 3% savings threshold in order to move forward on the transaction. That generates roughly about $1,600 in savings to the homeowners over the remaining 16 years of the transaction on average. And again, the action before you tonight is a resolution approving the issuance of the bonds. It also improves an offering document for the bonds that the bond underwriter will go market that out to investors. It approves a bond indenture, which is the city's contract with the investors, a bond purchase agreement where the city will agree to sell the bonds to the bond underwriter, Piper Sandler, and then a continuing disclosure agreement. So those are the actions before you this evening. And obviously the approval tonight, there's still a couple steps to go before we get issued the bonds. And I think our goal really is to sort of try to time the market as best as we can. And maybe I'll turn over to Jaime if he wants to talk about the market just a little bit before we move on.
Hello, Mayor, City Council, Jaime Trejo, PFM Financial Advisors. Yeah, when we first started this financing, the savings were in excess of 5%. There are some geopolitical conflicts that are happening that kind of shook the market a little bit. Rates went up, that decreased those savings. And since we did the staff report, things have settled down, rates have come down a little bit. So now savings are in excess of 3%. So the market has been relatively stable the past couple of weeks. And, you know, we were looking to go to market when it makes sense and also when it makes kind of procedure sense for the 2016 bonds, because those bonds, we can't refund those on an advanced basis, have to do it on a current basis for taxes and bonds. So we can't close those bonds till 3 months from the call date, which is September 1st. So we can't close before June 1st.
And so with that, be more than happy to answer any questions about the project moving forward here. And again, the request would be for authorization to move forward on the proposed issuance of the bonds.
Okay, do we have any questions from my colleagues? Okay. Very good. Madam Clerk, do we have any cards?
No speaker cards, and we'll go ahead and ask, is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment? No one in the audience. And switching over to Zoom, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to provide public comment? I see no hands raised.
Thank you very much. Any final comments from my colleagues? John?
Yep. Just want to make a note to staff that I want more agendas like this where
Yes.
we're lowering taxes
Where we're
twice
giving
in
money
one
back,
meeting.
yeah. That's great. I agree, ditto.
Yeah.
I second that.
Yep. I don't want to jump the gun if anyone is.
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'll move to adopt the item.
Good. Second?
I'll second.
All right. First and second, okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? No. 5-0.
Yay.
Okay, yay. Thank you. Can't go wrong with that.
Oh, Thank you,
Outstanding.
gentlemen, very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Okay, city manager reports. Mr. Scully.
Yes, thank you. Just three really quick things. We wanted to point out, I'll forward it around, but you could just go to the SACB website if you'd like. But the chief shared an interesting article with me that framed our new or improved kind of safety rating in terms of just low crime rates in a slightly different way. That kind of gives a better perspective. The title of the article is Lincoln's crime rate drops again in 2025, making it the 5th straight year of decline. And so I just encourage everybody to go read that, because it sounds like Chief and his team actually gave the B a little bit of data in terms of different things that we've done over that period of time: special response team, LPR, camera activity, et cetera. And I liked it because it wasn't just data centric. It actually kind of showed the real hard work that they're doing. And so I just wanted to highlight that a minute. The other thing I'm just going to mention as a fun little aside is Chief was messaging me earlier, and he had this idea that perhaps, since we're now a train town, and he has a monolithic, very Spartan looking building over there, that maybe an interesting mural art project would be to put that designation in a mural form on the east side of their building, which faces the train tracks, which is now a sturdy blue color, as I recall, or something like that. If you're ever in Chief's office, when the train goes by, it like shakes and stuff when you're in there, so it might make things a little bit there. And then just wanted to thank Nita again. These two items, the bond refinancing and then sort of reworking how we look at CFT 1802, is really difficult. And she didn't mention it in her report, but one of the things we were concerned about is sometimes these CFDs are set up a long time before they ever actually mature to be something that's useful from a revenue perspective. So the first couple of years after they were established in 2018, they really did very little for us, because you have to get people to build and then live there and pay their taxes. And so it takes a long time. And we were concerned. I can see why in many jurisdictions they just prefer not to address it, because there's a lot of unknowns. And if you under collect, services are what suffer. But part of this message is also just sort of a betting on ourselves component, in that we believe our retail position is going to improve exponentially in the next number of years. And so it makes sense at this time to do it. And It's one of the reasons why I like working with her. She's willing to take some risk alongside me. So appreciate your consideration of that. Aside from that, the only other thing I'd highlight just real quickly is tomorrow there's a pretty robust Airport Commission agenda that if you're interested in the airport, you should tune in for or come down and check out. We're going to be talking about flight patterns. We're going to be talking about professional management options at the airport and a few other items. And so it's a more meaty agenda than normal. Anything else I'm forgetting? I don't think so.
I think so. I think that was it. Okay, very, very good. Council initiated business.
I
Yes,
do,
Holly.
yes. So, Ms. Valderas came to us a few years ago and explained what she just explained now. Her property is like literally within feet of city limits. And they have water, but they cannot do sewer there with their own system. And so earlier on, a few years ago, there wasn't a lot of movement to kind of help bridge that gap for her. We had different council and different priorities at the time, but I always wanted to help. And so it's come back around again. And I would like to just have staff take a look at, and already had a conversation with Sean about it, and just look at, we don't want to be extending way out into the county, right? County is county, but she's so close, and just so much money invested in her property. And my thought is, why not help her? And then, maybe eventually somewhere down the road, they can think about annexing in if they want to. And so this isn't about, like using city resources for people outside the city, but it's using our discretion to help people who are very close to us. And her mother lives in Lincoln. They've lived here their whole life, and they are very entrenched and valued residents, and gave a lot to the city. And so my thought is, like, there's no reason for us not to do that. I mean, of course, they would pay for the connection, but I would like to put that on the table and have staff take a look at that and see what we can do.
Yeah, so happy to do that. The council, for those newer council members, council held a workshop on this 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, 24.
Do you remember?
It would.
June 20,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
well, close-ish.
Yeah.
And at that time, the direction, I think she was correct, was less than clear from some of the members of the council about whether or not they thought that it would made sense. There was some concern that, if you go back far enough, people that have lived here in Lincoln, that have paid property taxes here in incorporated Lincoln, funded the beginnings of what ended up becoming our water and sewer programs. And so, I think some elected officials at that time felt pretty protective of making sure that the benefits went to residents in town solely. With that said, there are plenty of options that other communities have for outside of service agreements that we can workshop with you. In addition, the other circle back I'd like to do, because I was kind of sad to hear that they haven't received much assistance from the county, is I don't think that it's probably fair, unless the county agency and the city have some sort of preset agreement, for the county to not allow somebody to develop the core utilities they need on an unincorporated parcel unless we've worked out with the county that, hey, we're willing to take all of those folks. So it kind of puts them between a rock and a hard place. Unnecessarily, in my opinion. So, but I don't have that directly from anyone. It's just an editorial comment. So yes, we'll put together some models, and you can tell us which way you want to go.
That's all I have. Mhm.
Also, Ben.
Yeah, actually, I've had a phone call and a couple of residents that have come to me about the TGI location that they're trying to open here in Lincoln. And they, through their sources, have said that they have heard that they're looking to close all of their other locations and put everything in on the location here. And being that I've never, I'm just awestruck that that would even be possible. I wanted to find out if I could get some staff to look into it and give us a report back. especially because of how this whole thing has come about. And now with a bold statement of, closing all the other locations and making this the location, I'm extremely concerned about that.
Very good, very good. Sean, you take that under
Got it.
direction? Okay,
Thanks.
okay, good. Thank you, Ben. Great. Whitney? John? Okay, I've got one thing. Over the past couple of months, I've looked at, there have been newspaper articles about other cities in our region and looking at the salary levels that city council members are being paid in those. Universally, all of the cities, Folsom, Rockland, and Roseville, the amount of money that current city councils pay, in many cases, just like Lincoln, go back decades. I think ours goes back when it was set in, I think, the early 2000s at $660 per month. That's pre-tax, no benefits. That equates to, if we're generous, probably to $7.75 an hour. And I don't think anyone is willing to work for that. No one looks to come to the city council to make money. We come because we love the city, we want to give back, we want to give to our community. But there should be some recognition that we are spending a lot of time away from our families by doing this. And with a little bit more remuneration, maybe we can say, I'm sorry, I can't come home from dinner today, I'm going to be out all day tomorrow, but we'll go out for dinner, we'll take a weekend away, and by increasing the salaries, that would be possible. The other thing that's changed over the years is that before there was no guidelines, and now the state does have a guideline on it by size of population, and that's really good. And so what I would like staff to do would be to come back, do some research on it, see what others are doing, what's the legality of it, and give us some options, for it, and including timing. So any comments from my colleagues on this? I'm just willing, that's my ask. I came on here in 2024, and it's, I just love doing this, and I know I speak for my colleagues, we all love being here. But I think let's just take a look at it and see what's out there, because things are changing. I know Folsom is looking at it, they're the same level as we are. They're planning on having it come to the council. It's a second reading tonight. Roseville is a charter city, so that has to go out to a vote of the people. But everyone is recognizing the immense pressures. And if you look at the responsibilities of city council members, what do we have? Mr. Treasurer, what do we have? $225 million worth of assets out there that we have oversight on, and a budget is a couple $100 million. And the amount of remuneration is relatively is small, without a doubt, in comparison to today. So if staff would take that under consideration, come back with some guidance on that.
Yeah, Mayor, there's been some changes to state law. This is part of some of the stuff that we wanted to do to update the code and kind of make it in conformance. So we'll be doing that. It may be included as part of our global kind of cleanup of the municipal code and kind of bringing in kind of the default state standards as it relates to compensation, things of that nature. But really the way that meetings are to be conducted just in general. So
Right, perfect.
Another quick comment on that.
Ben.
Is there a way to put in language for it to just, as part of general business, just automatically be adjusted as needed based on state recommendations?
I think there's some legal aspect to that. Am I right, Doug?
yeah, so so there's limits and there's ways that you can kind of do it as a default. I want to preserve the ability for the council to always have the ability to do something different than what the state is. So we'll have all the mechanisms that are in by law so that what can be automatic is automatic. But I also want to give the council the ability to have the flexibility to do something different, which, to be clear, is not something that you could do more. The state sets the maximums. It would be have the ability to accept less if they so chose. I think the biggest thing is actually just giving you the ability and having those components and measures and protocols built into your code as they should be. So,
And just to make sure that it's clear, what the other cities are proposing is not a giant leap from $7.75. I think it's $7.75 to about $20, even at the most. So nothing else, it's still below the minimum wage. So,
I'll add on.
okay. Hmm?
I wanted to add on to that. Thanks for bringing this up because I was actually following that Folsom situation as well. And I saw that there was an article, I think it was in the Bee. And the headline, I think, captured things well. And the perspective is similar to what you just stated. They were trying to, something like they were trying to find how they were being greedy and they couldn't. Because people, including myself, I know I spend north of 40 hours a week on council business. And then it's not just, Monday through Friday. I'm, balancing other things in between, responsibilities and phone calls and I am honored to do it. I love this work. I absolutely love this work and that's why I do it. But I would be lying if I didn't say that I hadn't thought this past year about how I'm in a position to be able to do that and that I don't have a financial barrier that wouldn't allow me to do what I'm doing and work this many hours. And I think that it's still not enough to live off of, it's still the minimum wage, it sounds like, what Folsom is trying to do, but it would perhaps open or lower barriers of entry for more people to be able to run for local office because it really is time consuming. And of course it doesn't have to be, but then you're not getting everything out of the role. And, and so for people to have to weigh that is definitely something that I have thought about. And a city that is our size, we do have a lot of growth, a lot of work, a lot of research that we're doing because we all love it. But at the same time, we're still small enough that there's not a lot of people that are stepping up to run. And so we do have elections that are being run unopposed. And I can't help but wonder if it's because, it is it's a lot of work and it's a big responsibility. And so anyway, that's where I'm at. And I think that it's definitely worth a conversation.
Well, and I'll add to that. Over the years, this is something that like I never asked for. I never wanted to talk about it. I just was happy with whatever the stipend was, even though, because I did feel like, I signed up for it. I know what it was. And over the years, especially when I was teaching full time, when I would have to take time off work that I wasn't getting paid for, I've lost thousands of dollars in income over the years, but I was fine with that. I'm like, I could handle it at the time until we started having side conversations. And I think what Sean kind of explained in the middle of like, well, what does that look like? What Whitney just said, that there might be someone like a single mom or somebody else who would like to run, who could contribute to city council and really do good work for the city, but because the stipend is so low that there's no way they could do it financially. And so that kind of made me, shift my thinking a little bit. So again, I'd like to see what you guys bring forward. I don't even know if I'm still in favor of it myself, or like I said, it's not something that I ever, when it was brought up before, I'm like, no, we're not going to ask for that. Like, we're not going to do that. But when you look at the broader scope of, we do need good people to step up and run. And that can be prohibitive. So no worries. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm okay with having a conversation about it. Yeah, that's
Perfect, good. Anyone else comment on this? Okay, very good. In that case, we'll move on to committee reports. We'll start with Holly.
I have nothing. Yeah, we had a committee meeting for SACOG Policy and Innovation, but it was just general like advocacy updates from local, federal, state, and it's kind of all the same thing. Like, we're not sure what's happening, So nothing groundbreaking or earth shattering, except for, I will say what's coming up. We haven't talked about it yet, but SACOG and the state are really getting ready to tackle this miles traveled tax thing. And that is something that I'm going to argue against very vehemently. I think it's not good for anybody. And so just unless anybody has a different feeling about that I will bring an update on that as we go through.
I was just going to ask, have they, related to that, have they identified the alternatives?
No, so there's two things to it. It's like, one is building projects, housing projects near transportation, so you don't have to drive as much. So like that angle. And then the other side of it is actually taxing us per mile that we drive. So there's two fronts to that. And so, the SACOG generally is like, they're okay to move towards that. And I made a comment a couple months ago when they first started talking about it again. I said, well, I hope we're not going to just lay down for that. And I said, well, just making it known, we're not okay with that. So they haven't, I'll get more information. I think we have a board meeting on Thursday, so I'll get more information, but that's something that I'm going to be really arguing against because we don't need that tax. And it's, for one, somebody has made the argument. I don't know how the state's going to monitor that, how they're going to, that's just more bureaucracy. That's just more money to try to keep track of how many miles we drive. We already have working families who are, paycheck to paycheck. That's ridiculous. And so it's very frustrating. So that's something that I'm going to be working on.
We've also talked about that in PCTPA as well. And one of the other agenda items was more of just a report, was infrastructure that is going to be put in for charging stations for electrics. And I think that they're looking at doing a charging station at the Lincoln Library, but for buses at that location. And they have a few other places throughout Placer County that they'll be doing for trucks, and then also another location for small cars. And against it, but it makes sense to make it available for those that have it and have some infrastructure there. But there was another member of the board that was based on, agriculture, was vehemently against that, spending money that way. So anyways.
Any other committee? Okay, good. John?
Yeah, we had LISWA, wasn't anything big there, although we're looking at some of the phase 1 scoping and there might be some adjustments there. Some good news out of WATMA, the landfill, their first 1383 test came back at 82%, which passes the 75% threshold to be a high diversion organics facility, which is really great. They don't get that certification until they do it 4 quarters in a row. So if they stay on track, they'll meet that requirement and be certified at that level in the 4th quarter, which is super exciting.
Thank you. Whitney?
Yeah, we had LAFCO last week and we looked at the proposed budget and work plan, and next month is going to be when we're going to finalize it and get it all ready for when it's due in June. So once we get that, I'm going to send that to all of our city managers in Roseville, Rockland, and then Sean will take a look at it and provide any comments and feedback.
It'll be part of the 60-hour work week.
Yep.
Right. Okay, good. And Sean already mentioned about the airport committee tomorrow morning. Pioneer Electric, I've got next week, and Air Pollution Control District next week also upcoming. So anything else on committee reports? Sounds like we've gone through that. Information items. We'll start with Ben.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few things that are going on in the community, but more specifically, every second Tuesday is the meeting for Lincoln Serves, where a lot of the nonprofits get together, and I've been attending that, and there's been huge benefit for getting together, and we have the chambers there. We've got the Friends of the Lincoln Library there, and we have new people that are coming all the time, and so they have a Facebook page that is that they're putting more information out on the nonprofits and the collaboration that's going on there. So stay tuned for some more of that. But there'll be events that are happening that should be posted a lot on there. The other way to try to get some more of that information is when some of these events are happening would be the chambers putting out both on their Facebook page and as well as an email push. They call it Nonprofit Wednesdays. So everything that's going on in community for nonprofits and that push.
And thanks for bringing up and stepping up for Lincoln Service. It's a great organization. There must be close to 40 organizations in there right now. And it's bringing together all these different groups and how we can help each other, which is just fabulous, without a doubt. John? And I am good. Yes, okay, Whitney?
Quick question. Can I follow up on, I have a lot of residents asking me when the fitness center is going to be breaking ground and what the ETA is on that on 12 Bridges. Do you have any idea?
I don't have a specific idea, but I'll tell you what, we will go and check to see what's been applied for, and then we can give you a pretty good idea about when it's going to get built.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty early on in the process, so we can't really provide timelines at this point until they get further along.
Okay. Would it be safe to say not this year?
Yeah, I think that's safe to say,
Okay.
but you never know.
Okay, and since talking about the things that are happening this year, and Vin, get ready, because we have to talk about 193 and Oak Tree Lane. Because I'm the new Fran right now, so it's okay.
Yeah, the contractor, Tykert, gave us tentative date of Monday, and unfortunately with the rain over the weekend, they were not able to, get some of the signs in place. I did, got word from them this afternoon. They will be out there, tomorrow, starting to install some of the signs. The Always Stop will not be in place yet, but they'll, install the signs to keep them cover up. There is a delay in trying to procure all the materials, especially the flash and beacon signs. That's expected to show up Friday, and hopefully, by the weekend, we can have everything in place. So that's the latest.
Okay, good. Let me do, because you and I had a conversation this afternoon, and while I'm positive that many people say, well, how could it be so difficult just to put a couple of stop signs up there? There's so much more involved with it. It's all the safety aspects to making sure that there's signs before the signs before the signs before the signs, and everything has to be coordinated. And so that's the reason for it. Safety first, without a doubt. So thank you, Vin. Okay, any other? Yes.
Yeah, just real quick. So we did do our skate park groundbreaking, which was really awesome. It's really fun for me now to see, when I see, in fact, just the other day, I saw a couple of kids skateboarding around. I think they were at the train, at Big Boy, and they were standing there looking at the train, and they had their skateboard. And I walked over and I said, we're building a new skate park, right? And they're like, what? So it's a lot of fun. So, so now my question is, when are we actually going to start building? I'm a pain in the neck.
Well,
I'm just
they're
kidding.
on the clock now, so
Yes.
they use then help me out here. They use their wet weather delay,
Yes.
which basically took them from about, I think, October through like the beginning of this month.
Yeah.
Then we had a little bit more rain, which was very annoying.
Very annoying, yeah.
And any idea?
Yeah, we ran into a little underground utility issue. We found a PG&E and
Is that what all the little flags
Cable.
are out there? Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to any type of construction activity, there's a lot of unknowns with underground. And, actually, we jumped, Araceli, our engineering manager, and I jumped on it right away. We actually got PG&E here Monday morning, first thing.
Right.
And we're working with them to try to allow the project to progress and move forward.
Okay.
You can never know what's underground, right? And believe it or not, with the widening at McBean Park Drive, there is still so much underground work remaining. You probably see them dug up all the dirt, and now it's, moved. And again, there's several months worth of work left as far as completing the intersection and getting signal operational. But likewise with this park, we are, starting the undergrounding process. And what happened was they call 811, asked the utilities to locate all the facilities, and found out that we have some unexpected utilities that we're trying to address.
Okay. I appreciate that. I won't harass you every meeting, I promise.
Yes, you will.
No. No, I won't. No, I understand that's a big issue, so.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Anything else? Good. Adjourn. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, everyone.